Hello everyone, I am Dr. Anil Shiratti, professor and consultant. So today's session, that is session 5 on design for manufacturing, we will be seeing the effect of material properties on the design. So in today's lecture, I will be covering effect of material property on design, how the materials are classified, design considerations and what are the objective for different manufacturing process which you will be dealing with, then how you select the material, then about Ashby material selection chart and analysis of material performance requirement. So let's start with a simple block diagram. So you can see in this block diagram there are 5 components. One component is property of the stock of the material. Next is the component geometry and external forces acting. Then the effect of fabrication method or the process of manufacturing. All these 3 processes will have a effect on the behavior of the material in the component. Either the component can be a single material component or it can be assembly of different material component. So if I see the relationship between the properties of material in the stock or on the geometry point or from fabrication point, it will have secondary influence. Okay, but if I see their behavior in case of a direct component, they will have direct influence. How it means? For example, if you are creating a stress concentration area in the design itself, okay, what happens? That part will fail early. So that will, any component geometry or external forces will affect directly the material failure, component failure. Definitely, when we are having a method of fabrication, for example, if we are using a welding method for manufacturing, its strength may be less compared to if you use a single component and do the machining operation. Okay, so that will have more strength compared to the welding. And what about the properties of stock of material? If the parts is very rusted, okay, or it may be have corroded part, and if you take that corroded part, okay, for manufacturing, definitely its age will be less. Okay, so once it, suppose because of the corrosion it has developed some cracks inside the component, and when it goes to the you manufacture the part, and when the components goes to the service, that cracks will elongate, okay, and growth will happen, and the material or the component may fail earlier than the design phase. But if you see the properties of this stock on the fabrication among or component, they are of secondary influence. For example, if I use a stock of the material, for example aluminium, or this one is there, let's say stainless steel is there, about their manufacturing on the different types of stress concentration will not have much effect compared to their influence on the behavior of the material or the components main. How the materials are classified? In general, materials are classified into 2 types, a metal and non-metal. So in metal we have iron, copper, titanium, aluminum, etc. Non-metal will have composites, we have foams which are new type of material, then natural material like wood and cotton, or polymers like PVC. Okay. Also, whenever we are designing any material, the material properties plays an important role. So as a designer, we should have a clear idea about what are the properties of material which we are choosing to make that component or make that assembly. So what are the parameters or properties we'll check? There are the physical properties, for example density, melting point, boiling point, color. Now if the weight is a main concern, okay, then the density plays an important role while selecting the material. Suppose the load is not much, but we want a material with a less weight, so definitely I may go for aluminium instead of going for a mild steel. Chemical properties like corrosions and oxidation rate. So if we are using any material in in a C type environment or corrosion type environment, we may have to go for stainless steel. We cannot go for mild steel components, okay, or mild steel as a material. Then the thermal conductivity, like thermal properties like conductivity, specific heat, coefficient of expansion, fire resistance of that material. So definitely where the fire is there, I cannot go for plastic or any polymer. I have to go for metal. Next are the mainly what we are concerned in much of the designs. We will see these properties, that the mechanical properties like hardness, modulus of elasticity, Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, shear strength. So all this yield strength, shear strength, everything we can calculate using, if I do a test of tensile test. Then if I do a fatigue test, I can find the fatigue and creep. It is with respect to temperature. Either it can be done at high temperature or else at room temperature. So creep is nothing but the behavior of the material with respect to time. Either generally the creep is very serious matter if it is at high temperature, like nuclear power plants where the material will be working at 550 degrees centigrade. In some cases it go till 650 degrees centigrade. Then what are the fabrication method or manufacturing method you are adopting, like castability, heat treatment process if you are doing, or what the changes may happen because of this heat treatment. If you are using a welding method too, definitely the parts, the component which is welded, the position of welding wherever you are doing, near to that, there will be change in the property of the material. Okay, and if the material is machinable or not. Suppose I choose a material which is mnemonic and I want to reduce its diameter from 100 to 50, it is very difficult. You cannot machine it very easily. But if you go for mild steel, definitely you can take 1 mm, 2 mm depth of cut and reduce it. Next is, what are the design, as a designer you will consider different consideration while designing any product. One is the static strength, then the stiffness of the material, also against the fatigue of I am designing. If I am designing against a high temperature application, I have to see the creep properties. Overall, my objective will be, in general, any designer should be minimize the cost, minimize the weight. Okay, that is also important. And in some cases, aesthetic and comfort also plays an important role. For example, if I see this part, which is nothing but a crankshaft, where the major concern is the fatigue properties. So the design from the fatigue point of view is important. But if I'm doing a heat exchanger, the main concern is the high temperature application it is. Okay. Now next, if you consider from the chair point of view, it should be aesthetically good enough. Definitely it should provide a comfort, because a person will be sitting on the chair for continuously, maybe for 8 hours. So he should comfortably sit in that chair very easily. Next, there are few effects of manufacturing process on the design. Okay, with a sophisticated and fast change in the technology, a close coupling between people in research, design, and manufacture has become very much essential, necessary in today's world. A creative design cannot be developed into a product unless it can be easily manufactured. So you cannot develop a good product if you don't have an idea about the manufacturing. In many cases, design modifications are made to achieve the production economy and improve the quality performance. Now, for example, what are the design considerations if you are doing for a tungsten material, not viable for material for high melting point? Definitely tungsten will have very high melting temperature, so I cannot go for casting so easily. When I am doing any casting operation design, parts with inaccessible internal cavities, too complex shapes, or too large size should be avoided. Okay. Then parts showing isotropic properties. Next, if I am doing for machining, usually used for secondary manufacturing process, close dimensional accuracy of maybe 100 micron or less than that is possible in case of a machining. It depends upon the machine and the process of machining you are using. Almost all kind of material or plastic also can be machined. If you are welding, you are using welding operation, it is nothing but joining process. Strong joint is possible. You can have different arc welding, gas welding, different, depends upon the application. You can choose the welding process. If you are going for forging, parts of high performance applications are manufactured using forging. No defects and directional properties like fiber structure. Next, if you are using a powder metallurgy like mixing of two metals you want, it's better to go for powder metallurgy with a low density parts can be made, but the only thing is initial investment in this process is very high. So always recommended for a high number of, or if the production quantity is very high, you can go for powder metallurgy process. Adhesive process is a general, where here the strength is very less, but it is good when there is any electrical insulators or flexible adhesive can absorb also shocks and vibration. These are mainly used for PMC components. Now what about the material selections? Okay, now let's analyze for the material requirement. First you have to determine the condition of service and environment that the product should withstand. You have designed everything, but what is its working or environment condition you have to check. Now this maybe what is the stiffness, strength, if the environment is corrosive in nature. Also the business factor like cost and availability of that material very easily and plays an important role while selecting the material. Second is you can use HBA material chart for the material selection. Okay, you may have given the different options, so you can add your variables like properties. Next you can add the cost, availability, and then do the selection. So this chart will help you in that part. Okay, so the more detail about SBA we will see in the last few slides. Also selection of candidate material. So first steps what you did was you have depends upon its technical details, cost, availability, you have selected a few parts. Then using the SBA chart we have found like 3 to 4 parts which can fit your technical details, also whatever the environment details, everything fits. Then you have to analyze this on terms of performance, cost, manufacturability and availability, so to select the best material among these different materials or options given. Then you go for the more detailed development of this design. So development of design for a critical system or component. Determine experimentally the key properties, material properties for selected materials to obtain statically reliable measure of material performance under the specific condition expected to be encountered in service. It is not always necessary to carry out this step, but it is useful part of detailed design. What it says is, in case the material properties are not well defined, it is better to you can do your own test like tensile and fatigue, okay, and check whether that material can satisfy your environmental and technical needs or not. Now this is a simple SBA chart, okay. So you can see here at the x-axis you got the density varies from 0.01, 0.1 and till 10. It is a log axis, and if you here if you see, that is Young's modulus. Okay, now whatever the curve you are seeing, let's say this curve is E by, that is Young's modulus by density. This curve is Young's modulus by raised to square root of Young's modulus by density. Like this few curves are there. Now let's say I am interested in some X or Y material. So what I do is I will do all my technical calculation and I get a ratio of E by P. So E by density. So E is nothing but Young's modulus, that is the material properties. D is not, rho is nothing but the density. So depends upon that I can get a ratio. So let's say that ratio is somewhere between 10 raised to -3. So I will get this curve. Okay. So this line is defined by, let's say, E by rho, that is density. Now if you see from this chart, anything acting above this one, I can select any material. So what are the material available? So I can select steel, I can select titanium, I can select composite, I can select natural fibers, I can select foams also. Now this first I got a lot of options of selecting the material which is technically satisfying my design needs. Now next phase is what is the availability of that material. So let's say foams may not be easily available. So I can say, okay, I don't want that one. Now I have option of wood is easily available, steel is available, titanium, all these are available. So now what about the cost? Then I may go and select steel, because I saw that titanium is very costly. Still both are satisfying the needs, but steel is more cheaper compared to that one. So like this you can select the material, decide the final material depends upon the what are the alternative materials available for you. Now the last part is analysis of material performance requirement. So broadly there are 5 classes of material requirement through which the material performance for a product design is being analyzed. First is the functional requirement, next is the processability requirement, cost requirement, reliability requirement, and resistance to service requirement. So we will see all this in a brief. So let's start with the first, that is the functional requirement. So functional requirements are directly related to the required characteristic of the part or the product. For example, if the part carries a uniaxial tensile load, the main thing what is the yield strength of that material can be directly related to the load carrying capacity. Okay. However, some characteristics of the part or product may not have simple correspondence with the measurable material property, as in case of a thermal shock, wear resistance, okay, reliability, etc. So in these cases, if there is a thermal shock and wear resistance needed, so I may have to connect the wear test performed on that material to the wear rate. Okay. Under this condition, evaluation process has to be done. For example, what I said was, if I am concerned about the wearing of the material, I have to do the wear test and check what is the wear rate with respect to the load acting, also with respect to the distance. All these parameters I can decide and then decide the material. For example, in case of a thermal shock, I have to link the thermal shock resistance to the thermal conductivity and the expansion coefficient of the material. Okay, definitely in some cases, if the resistance to stress corrosion cracking can be related to the tensile strength under electrochemical potential. So I can create a corrosion type of environment, okay, at the laboratory level. So for example, let's assume a ship. So ship impeller. So what happens to the ship impeller? It is inside the sea, which is a corroded environment. So maybe after a few months or few years, it may start corroding. But when I am selecting any material, I cannot wait for let's say 2 years and decide one material. So what I do is I create a electrochemical potential. Electrochemical environment in which the corrosion rate can happen within 5 days. The material can corroded equivalent to the material can be corroded after 5 years in actual working condition. So let's say I am using stainless steel as a material, okay, and that may get corroded after 5 years by, let's say, by 5%. So the same scenario of that material can be created in the laboratory in a corrosion environment, chemically corroded environment, which the same environment or same amount of corrosion can be created in 5 days. So this is called accelerated corrosion. Okay, there are standards, ASTM standards to do that, and then I can decide whether I have to go for stainless steel 316, 304 or whatever part. Next is the processability of requirement. Okay, so processability of a material is the measure of ability to be worked and shaped into a finished part. With reference to specific manufacturing method, processability can be defined as, in case of a casting, castability, in case of a welding, weldability, in case of a machining process, machinability, etc. So ductility and hardenability can be relevant to the processability if the material to be deformed or harnessed by heat treatment process. The closeness of the stock form to the required product form can be taken as a measure of processability in some cases. It is important to remember that processing operation will almost always affect the material properties, so that processability considerations are closely related to the functional requirement of any part. What I'm going to say in processability, suppose you don't want the material properties should change very heavily, you should go for a machining operation compared to a welding operation. Okay. because definitely when you are doing a welding operation near to the weld, huge amount of heating happens, and the material property at microstructure level will be changed very heavily. Cost. So cost is also a very important parameter when we are taking the design or selection of a material in the design phase. So cost is usually an important factor in evaluating the material, because in many applications there is a cost limit for a given component. When the cost limit exceeds, the design may have to be changed to allow the use of less expensive material or process. In some cases, a relatively more expensive material may eventually yield a less expensive component than a low priced material that is more expensive to process. Hence, a trade-off between the material and process should be considered for creating a less expensive product. So what it means is, in some cases, suppose I'm going for a selection of material. Okay, let's say the material is going under some tensile load. So I can select a mild steel also, and let's say I got a yield strength of whatever the load acting is having a yielding of maybe let's say 100 megapascal, 150 megapascal. So for 150 megapascal of load, I can easily select, let's say, mild steel, which can work, or even I can select stainless steel. But if I see the cost wise, the mild steel will be around 55 to 60 rupees kg, but definitely stainless steel will be about 300 to 350 rupees kg. So there the cost plays an important role. But if the same material I'm designing for, let's say, for high temperature application, okay, let's say I'm working for 300 or 350 degree centigrade, where it is a very critical nuclear operation, okay, some nuclear component it is going. In that case, it is better to go for stainless steel, because the amount of risk involved is more than the material cost. So that is what I am saying in this third point. Okay. Next is the reliability of the requirement. So reliability of a material can be defined as the probability that it will perform the intended function for expected life without failure. So what I explained in the last example, so definitely both can satisfy a temperature of 300 degree or to 350, but definitely with respect to the time, the stainless steel component will be having better life compared to a mild steel component. Material reliability is difficult to measure, because it is not only depend upon the material inherent property, but it also greatly affected by its production and process history. Generally, new and non-standard materials will tend to have low reliability than the established and standard materials. That also, whatever the creep test is there, that is the testing with respect to time at either room temperature or high temperature. This test will give an idea of reliability of that material with respect to time. But if you see the testing time, it will go from 1 month till 6 years of continuous testing. Despite difficulties of evaluating reliability, it is often an important selection factor that must be taken into account. Failure analysis techniques are usually used to predict the different ways in which a product can fail. The cause of a failure of a part in service can be usually be traced back to defect in material, process, faulty design, unexpected service condition, or misuse of the product when I am doing any reliability requirement tests. The last one is a resistance to service condition. The environment in which the product or part will operate plays an important role in determining the material performance requirement. Corrosive environment as well as high or low temperature are adversely affect the material performance in service. Whenever more than one material are involved in the application, compatibility becomes a selection consideration. For example, if the temperature is let's say 250, I have to go for mild steel and let's say stainless steel. I may not go for a plastic in that case. In thermal environment, for example, the coefficient of thermal expansion of all the materials involving may have to be similar in order to avoid any thermal expansion or thermal stresses. In wet environment, material that will be in electrical contact should be chosen carefully to avoid any galvanic corrosion effect. In application where relative moment exists different parts, the wear resistance of material involved should be considered. For example, if I am using a let's say a material which can be easily wear out, and we have to see to that all the material or all the component of the material should have same or near to better wear property compared to the whatever the wear is happening in the complete component. So that is the end of the today's lecture. So what we covered is, we have covered different material selection process. Also we saw SBA chart, what are the material selection classification we saw, what are the criteria you consider in generally while selecting the material. So if you have any questions, you can either email me or you can text me. Thank you everyone.